Hey, everybody, I'm John. I'm not Josh. I'm John. Hey, everybody, I'm John Granado. That's Josh Jordan. You can hear us on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5. You can also see Josh's work at sportsmaphouston.com. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet so you get all of our content here at SportsMap HOU. Josh, this week, been a lot of talk surrounding possible landing spots for Jimmy Garoppolo and Lamar Jackson. Between the two, which is the better scenario for the Texans? Jimmy G as a bridge guy for the young guy that you draft, or Lamar as the immediate franchise quarterback?
Well, I will say I'm not super in favor of either one of these scenarios, but let's have the conversation here a little bit. Obviously, Lamar Jackson's the best player. He's been an MVP. It would change life for you as a Texans fan. But I also look at the Ravens as being one of the best run teams in football. You know, Ozzie Newsome, they've drafted so well for so many years. Seems like Baltimore knows what they're doing, and they're not going along with his contract demands. And they don't have to give up 2 first-round picks like the Texans would have to give up. And they're still not pulling the trigger on this deal. There's some ESPN reports that they're almost $100 million apart. You know, the guaranteed money they're still arguing about. But ESPN doubled down. They said that Lamar does want that Deshaun fully guaranteed contract, even though Stephen A. Smith said something to the contrary about a week ago. So it sounds like that's what he wants. He's missed 5 straight games the last 2 years in the regular season, so there's some injury concerns. So that worries me a little bit. I'd probably be a little more inclined to go with the Garoppolo route, just because I think you could get out of that contract a lot sooner. You wouldn't have to commit to him for so long. That would make a little more sense to me.
You know, there's a lot of concerns with Lamar. First and foremost, the way he's gone about this money thing. He has left a lot of money on the table because his mom is running the deal as opposed to an agent who really knows the business, knows what he should get. He's got no endorsement deals because she's asking for the world. She's asking for the world in this contract. She wants him to be the highest paid. She wants him to be the highest paid in everything. They're Googling stuff as opposed to knowing stuff of how much guys make. He's got injury concerns. He's got playoff concerns. Whether or not he played last year because he didn't want to play for the Ravens is a concern for me, that a guy would sit out of the playoff game because he was PO'd at the team. Do you want to give a 5-year guaranteed deal to a guy right now who's coming off these injury seasons? There's a lot of stuff. Do you want to pay a guy as opposed to having a rookie that you're going to bring along and not pay all that money to start with? Are you ready to win even if Lamar Jackson does come here? You don't have pieces here. You're going to pay a quarterback top dollars when you just don't have the pieces to win right away, when Lamar Jackson could make. He's better off on a better team like the Dolphins, who's ready to win right now, than the Texans. I go with Garoppolo in this one. And you do a deal, maybe a 3 or 4 year deal, but you can get out of after 2 years because you want that guy. That's a perfect scenario for an Anthony Richardson, to sit for 2 years and watch Jimmy Garoppolo and then come in and be able to play and get him ready. Not Bryce Young so much. If they get Bryce Young, I think you got to put Bryce Young on the field right away. But an Anthony Richardson or a Will Levis, if they go that route, I think Jimmy Garoppolo would be a good route.
It's kind of interesting to me because, free agency is going to come before the draft. So is Jimmy going to sign the first big deal he gets in free agency, or is he going to wait until after the draft to see who needs a quarterback, because he's going to want to go somewhere where he's not going to be replaced right away? So I think the timing is going to be interesting with this one. But I look at the start of last season, the Colts game, the Broncos game, the Bears game. I think if Jimmy Garoppolo is your quarterback, you probably win those 3 games instead of Davis Mills. So I think they could take a jump with Jimmy G. Is the Geno Smith contract maybe something around what Garoppolo's going to want, like 3 years, a little over $100 million and maybe $40 million guaranteed? Is that what it's going to take to sign a Jimmy G?
Yeah. Well, Jimmy G is a guy who wins.
Yeah.
Now, he had San Francisco talent, not Texans talent. So I don't know that we're going to look at Jimmy G and say, well, that's a winner now. Now, Derek Carr is a different situation, right? Derek Carr is going to go there. They think that guy, they can help him win right away. I think Jimmy Garoppolo, in any of the scenarios, to Carolina or anywhere that needs a Tampa, I think he is just a stopgap for anybody. He's a Band-Aid for everybody. I don't think anybody looks at Jimmy Garoppolo and goes, well, that's our quarterback of the future that we're going to win with going forward, because he hasn't been that guy. He has been a game manager that had a great defense, and that's why he got to where he was. I don't think you look at him in any other way. He is a guy that you bring in if you've got a young quarterback that needs time to groom.
Yeah, and we talk about Lamar's injuries. We got to be fair. Jimmy Garoppolo gets hurt too. He missed like the last 5 games of the regular season in the playoffs last year. Jimmy G is one of those guys. And to your point about would Lamar want to come to the Texans, he's going to want to go to a team that's ready to win right away. And it's like the Deshaun trade. The Browns, that roster, they have a lot of good talent on that Browns roster. It made sense for them to think we're a quarterback away. We're going to go all in with Deshaun. So that makes sense to me. I see why they did. I just don't think the Texans are quite in that place. And as a Texans fan, John, we finally got out from cap hell from Bill O'Brien. We finally got a bunch of draft capital. Do we want to have to give away all that draft capital, and your salary cap space is going to get taken up really quickly if you do that deal?
Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo would cost about half.
Yeah.
And you do a deal where you can get out of it pretty soon. There ain't no getting out of Lamar. There ain't no getting out of it. Give me Jimmy G right now.